Okay, there it is. All right, we're good to go. Today, the first one on my list is Mete. Do you wanna start?
Hello everyone. Yesterday, Thomas find my mistake about the metadata part, and now it's working. It's for the real basic one. And afterwards, Mega closed my pull request, but I have a question in my mind about that. The thing, the one Fernando has done about the get root by root doesn't check DB, I guess. The other one checks the DB. I think that's the difference, but I'm not really sure. Thomas can know more about it.
No, Fernando's PR also checks the DB. That's why they were overlapping. It
Oh,
doesn't do that directly. It uses like a block store and state store. But yeah, I checked it and it's working. So
hey, have you checked my comment there? I think that's the one. I'm not really sure about that, but just for checking. I mean,
yeah,
and
sure. I'll check it.
okay, and the in the engine API part, I'm mostly done. Just the I need the return types for to just return the values to back to the consensus layer from the execution layer. And I think that's all updates from me.
That's great. Sorry, that's great. That's many updates. Yeah, I think that you had some questions for the engine API. Do you are those still relevant? If that's the case, I can answer after.
Yeah, the last ones that I will send you still remaining.
Okay, perfect. I will take a look at those right after the meeting. Thank you. The next one is God's power.
Good day, everyone. Um, I I think I've made updates to my PRM localization of leaks to address Thomas's comments. Hopefully that would move forward. And also, I made a PRO to add serialization and deserialization of vectors. Fernando already added like the building blocks for that, so I just added a couple of things and added the spec test. So yeah, and today I would be working more on that, and yeah, just working more on that basically. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check the PR. I think that we already had serialization, deserialization of vectors, but I'll check. We didn't have for vectors. Oh,
That was pending.
that's awesome then. I completely missed that part. Thank you both for that collaboration then. I will check those PRs today. Do you need new issues, Gospower, to tackle after this one? Or
Uh,
are you already working on something?
yeah, so I created an issue for hash
Yeah.
tree root of vector. So
Ah,
but it's dependent on serialization and deserialization of vectors. So that's why I made that PRO. So if that gets merged, then I can take the next one. But that withstanding, I could take another issue if that's taking some time.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll try to prioritize that so that you get unblocked and can continue working on the next one. I mean, feel free to just start a new branch off of that one and start working on it. I think that's a very good issue to work on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I will try to have it merged as soon as possible so that you're not working on a dangling branch instead of main. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I wasn't aware that was a missing part. Thank you. The next one is Fernando.
Okay. For my part, yesterday I worked in a bit list module similar to the bit vector. It's already done. and the PR is ready to review. With that, I will need another issue.
That's great. Yeah, I'll assign you an issue right afterwards. Probably a Beacon API one. The next one is Akash.
Yeah, I was able to make the tests work after Thomas did all the heavy lifting. Thanks. So, and now since Fernando's PR is also merged, I'll also work on the weekend API. It was depending on the get ID to root function. So I'll start working on the BK issue.
Yeah, if this might be a bit risky, but if Fernando's PR is already working, feel free to like build on top of it, like make a branch starting from it and start working on the Beacon API PRs.
Oh, is
Mostly
it not
because
merged? I thought it's merged.
what is it already merged? Oh, that's great then. From the update, I thought that it was in review. That's awesome. If it's merged, then all of those are unlocked. That's great. Also, one interesting issue to take, it's an old one. Some work started, but I eventually saw that it wasn't complete, is the Open API specs one, which is adding a specs checker for the input, which might be very interesting to tackle. But I will actually like send some information afterwards. So if anyone wants to work on the Beacon API and doesn't have an issue, that might be an interesting one to take on next. Maybe Fernando. Not sure about that.
Yes.
Okay, I will assign afterwards. The next one is Tomas.
Okay. Yesterday I was mostly checking PRs. I reviewed the Fernando's PR on GetRoot by ID and merged it. I also found later, just like testing the endpoints, I found that it had some errors, so I made a quick PR to fix them. And with that, I opened an issue to add tests for the Beacon API. We have yet to like check how would be the best way to test the whole Beacon API. Maybe Thomas has more experience with testing Phoenix, but that issue is just a reminder for that. I also fixed some other bugs that were going around the node, like some, I think, empty close matching. Empty strings didn't match any clauses, things like that. And also did a small POC for an interface for a refactor to the store object to make it more more easily switchable, to make the underlying implementation more easily switchable.
That's great. That's a great series of updates. Yeah, regarding the testing, we definitely should be testing API endpoints. I think that we suspended that originally because we were like returning hard-coded values, but now that we are actually sending something, we need to start testing it. That's not a hard thing to do, fortunately. Phoenix provides a way to, like Inex unit, just like make some requests to the endpoint and like evaluate the return value. So and that works pretty well. Where was I going with this? Yeah. Basically, like your issue is a very important one to take on next. So if anyone is free, that might be a good one to take. Yeah, I think that my updating is next. I've mostly been working on the fork on rearranging some fork tree stuff so that we can move to the different concurrency model. I think that I may be uploading some changes today. I will also take a deep look on both Tomas and Martin's POCs, as they are like pretty big changes. So I need to, I will give some time for both those reviews. For now, that's it. Yeah, if I have any extra time, then I will start working on the workshop. But I don't see that happening today. Maybe on Monday. I actually haven't decided what the workshop is about. We have plenty of ideas, but as soon as I have it like narrowed down, I will send a poll or something. But the next one is, if I recall correctly, is at least in the specs area of life. So like not Elixir related, and then the next one supervisors. But the following one we can do some specs related talk or discussion, or yeah, maybe a mix of both. Maybe we can just see the specs, check some of the client code, discuss. Yeah. All right. Let me see if there's something in the chat. They say, "What will it take to get an internship as a Rust recruiter for a Lambda class?" Oh, yeah, that's a bit off topic for the consensus daily. It's a very good question, though, but I'm not the right person to answer that, because I haven't been in charge of the Rust cryptography internships. Usually, the only thing that I can say is that usually we have um, a mechanism so that people can apply when we start new internships, and we can no, yeah, don't worry, and then you just apply, you tell the interviewers your skills, um, and you just go forward with it. That's how this bootcamp started, in a way. I'm not giving the best description, but it's kind of like that. there's a there's a formal way of applying, and when a new internship appears, then there will be a formal way to apply. So don't worry about it. Like, like, follow the Twitter account, and you'll probably notice if an application starts, if an application process starts. But yeah, thanks for asking. Any final comments or questions before finishing the daily today?
Um, so I think we also need to create issues around serialization and deserialization of lists that has composite types, or lists that have containers, like a list of containers, and also same for vectors. So I think it's also something that is important in the SSA library.
I
All
think
right. Do we not have that?
list, I think list only have the same type. I, in the specs,
I Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's all right. But I think that what God's Power says, so correct me if I'm wrong, God's Power, but what you're saying is, are we not supporting lists of containers, like of the same type of container?
yes, yes, that is important. Mhm.
Is that available, or maybe I've not seen that? Is it already available or is not?
I
Yes,
think it, but I also thought that vectors were available, so I could be wrong. We can go back to the code and check after the meeting, but I think it is.
Okay,
yes.
maybe.
It
I
would
don't
be
think,
interesting.
because
It would,
when you try to make encode a list, it checks if it checks if it's a fixed type or it's a variable type. And fixed types are Ewing's booleans. Then what it checks for variable type is if it's a list, right? So it only checks for those two. But in a scenario where it's like a list of a let's say like a container type, a composite type, I don't think we have that. But yeah, we can still check more on that. But from what I've seen, I don't think we have it.
it could be the case that it's hard coded to list, but I would be surprised. Let me just go check the code after the meeting. Thank you for bringing that up. All right. If we don't have any more comments, then we can finish the daily for today. Thank you all for joining, and see you all on Monday.